Sung a bit of 12 Cantonars on Saturday night.
Did you?
Down the old, in the taxi, actually. Yeah,
Was
bit
it?
of a sing-along.
Oh, nice. Where were you on Friday night?
Friday night? That was on Saturday night.
Oh, sorry. Where were you on Saturday night?
I was at Matlock Illuminations.
Mm-hmm.
Very raucous affair.
I'm sure it was.
Quite a lot of families there. So I was there on a stag do, but it's more sort of the kind of place you'd go with your nan or something.
Right. On a stag do?
Yeah, if you fancy. They had a flotilla of little boats.
Nice.
That's good. Yeah.
Fair play. Worth missing the match for?
Well, I didn't really miss the match for that. I was just not in a cinema. I couldn't get a stream of the match, to be fair.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because it was on at 3:00 and I wasn't at the game, so no way of watching it in this country.
Fair enough. But good weekend?
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, went to a petting zoo.
Wow.
The groom did have to wear a full Forest kit because he's a big Derby fan.
Oh,
which I don't know. I think I would ruin the vibe on my stag do.
I'd be in such a bad mood. I would just refuse. I
just
think.
Wouldn't put it on, but that would ruin the vibe.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But I don't know who will be my best man. It's possible that he's in the room, so I would rather that he did not give me a Liverpool kit to wear, or a City kit, or a Leeds kit, just in case.
Well, we're planning. Not my mates. A friend of mine stag is being planned at the moment, and someone suggested a shooting range,
right?
Which sort of high octane.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Why not archery instead?" Archery is not the same vibe as a shooting range. It's a distinctly different vibe. It's more Boy Scout vibe.
Yeah, but I had a great time. We also did a murder mystery, which I've never done before.
Is that why you had to wear a tux?
That is, yeah.
Were you in character?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who were you?
I was an American billionaire.
Did you do the voice?
I did. I'm not doing it for the podcast, but yeah, I did.
Fair enough. Did you own an NFL team or an MLS franchise?
Didn't delve into the backstory that much. I suppose in my head, yes, I did.
Okay, nice.
But that didn't play into the narrative arc of the story.
Fair enough.
But lots of people thought it was me, but it wasn't.
Oh, wow.
I was falsely accused.
Blimey.
Hello, welcome back to Red Army Reaction, or indeed welcome if you've tuning in for the first time. I did try and spread the word a little bit over the weekend, so I'm hoping we've got some new listeners. Welcome all. If you are here for the first time, I hope you stick around. And if you're here for the last time, thanks for coming. We've enjoyed it.
The trend now is to put in your sort of call to arms at the start, because lots of people turn off before the end. So spread the word. Like and subscribe and give us a rating and give us a comment.
Yeah, tell your friends.
We're going to talk about some a nice message sent in over a comment later. So if you get your comments in, and we might discuss them, we might react to them.
Yeah. Get that engagement up. With the listening body.
Yeah. So spread the good word, and we'll keep talking about nonsense about football. Yeah.
Sunderland weekend.
Yeah.
I was unable to watch it live, but
You've caught up.
Yeah, seen the highlights.
I'm going to say a mixed day at Old Trafford, but I'm not, as usual, that would be referred to the football.
Yeah.
I'm mainly talking about the weather. It was the most hit and miss weather I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It would pour down for 10 minutes and then be quite nice and sunny for half an hour. And it did that relentlessly for the 5 hours I was out of the house. Thankfully, it was pretty much dry on the 2 walks from the station to the stadium and then back. So we didn't get soaked, but it was bizarre weather. And it looked like it on the pitch. It was like no weather I've seen before.
Yeah, very off and on. But the wind was pretty on the whole time.
Yeah. A couple of passes were on a stiller day. I think that would have been a good ball, but it ended up clipping out of play.
Yeah. So you were at the game?
I was.
How did you see it?
I thought that it was probably you don't want to be too hyperbolic, but I think it was the best Amorim performance. I think it was the most like a proper United side. As I said at halftime to our uncle, who's been going for a very long time, is this what it used to be like all the time?
Yeah.
Because it was so comfortable that first half. And we'll talk about Sunderland made some changes and evened the game out a bit more, but it was composed and professional from United, got the goals, didn't created other chances as well. It wasn't like we snatched 2 goals. There was loads going on.
Yeah.
Everyone played well, really. A couple of frustrating things, but minor things in the grand scheme of it. And to get in at half-time 2-0 up without really a scare is it's been a rare thing for Old Trafford for a long time, and it felt like watching a real United team.
Yeah.
Odd.
I watched the first half. Well, I caught most of it on Soccer Saturday, which meant I had to watch it through the lens of Tim Sherwood, which is...
That's a low roll.
I know, yeah.
Not what you want.
None of them are what they used to be, but yeah, it's not the ideal watching experience, but it did seem like we could have easily been more than 2 up at half-time, which is not... I mean, we often have periods where we create a load of chances and don't take enough of them.
Yeah.
But to take 2 of them is quite good, really. It's quite a good conversion rate from us, and we could have had even more. That's much better than we could be 4-0 up, but is 0-0.
Yes, yeah. And yeah, like Roofs made a great save and a couple of good saves. He sort of didn't keep them in it, but there was a good shot from Ahmad, a good shot from Mbermo, a great shot from Bruno that was a brilliant save. And but it never felt like it was going to be one of those days because we were already winning. We'd scored after 1 minute. We didn't look, not after 1 minute, after 7 minutes. We didn't look like nervy, like they could get one back here and then we'd regret missing these chances. It was 2-0 and it felt like we're sort of not one-way traffic, but it'll keep along this route quite comfortably without much effort. And it held true towards it to the end. Should we talk about the Mason Mount goal?
Yeah, it was a very good goal, actually.
Yeah.
It's a nice goal to see us score. Like a well-worked move, nice passing football.
Yeah.
The cross went to one of our players and he brought it down and finished it off.
Yeah.
It's made it look easy, which is not what we do.
No, we spoke about the City game, scoring simple goals. And while there was a lot that went into it, in terms of its composition, it was a cross, a touch and a finish.
Yeah. And it's nice to see Mount score. This is his 5th goal in all competitions, I think, for United.
Yeah.
3rd in the league and his 1st at home in the league.
Yeah, and is it his 1st in a win in the league? He scored an equaliser at Brentford that we then went on to lose.
No, yeah. And then he's also scored away at Brentford in a game we drew.
Yes.
So that's his first time he scored in a win in the league.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's nice because he's had a lot of trouble with injuries and he's never really been consistently in the team.
No, and he's got a pedigree as a good player. He's not some bum. He knows how to play. So it's refreshing that. Well, he was one that a lot of people I think were ready to consign to the long list of players that United have ruined, and I'd like to see him buck that trend and put some performances together. The system seems to work a lot better with him in it. I think he's a good presser. He's a bit more disciplined than Cunha. And not a word against Cunha. I think Cunha's going to be a very good player, and you can see when he plays what he's very good at. But I think it was quite a specific job that Amorim wanted from Mount today. Basically, playing up front in a 4-4. Playing on the left in a 4-4-2, and without the ball, and he did that job really well and made us look quite comfortable. I think.
Yeah. We definitely seem to, and this is something that Amorim has said that we won't be doing, but we did seem to play in a slightly different way, much more direct, long balls the whole time, long throws as well.
I think the directness has been slightly overplayed. I think it was a feature of the game, but I don't think it was the only thing we tried to do. If you look at the Mount goal, it was a long passing move. It wasn't.
That wasn't
pump the ball up
and
one. But I think Lamans spoke about it, or Šeško spoke about it. Maybe that I don't think it was either of them. Actually, it was somebody else spoke about Lamans and Šeško that when they're under a bit of pressure at the back, it's a good option to have to be able to go along to Šeško. He's reliable, and Lamans proved reliable yesterday on Saturday. That was a good outlet. I don't think it was sort of the only thing we tried to do.
Yeah.
Which some people seem to be claiming that he's abandoned everything to just play a long ball.
Just go route one,
which I think is nonsense.
Yeah, I think probably because it was the keeper's debut as well, you want him to keep it simple
Yeah.
And you're much less likely to have a howler as goalkeeper if you kick it long, which is what he was clearly directed to do, which is all right. And that's the kind of thing we've been talking about Amorim not doing in the past, which is making some slight compromises
to get win,
some results.
Yeah. I think that was one of the changes I wanted to see today. Was a bit more flexibility in the way we try and attack, and we did see that. And also, I wanted to see Ahmad back at wing back, and it wasn't those sort of blistering heights of Ahmad that we saw last season, but it was a good solid performance from him there. And having a winger in that position makes so much more sense. Everything seems to look more cohesive when you have that, because so much of the time that if you look at the number of opportunities that Ahmad had on that side to do something with the ball, it makes so much more sense if that's Ahmad rather than if it's Dalot. We saw Dalot on the left, which I think he's somehow worse at attacking on the left than he is on the right. But when the system is sort of set up in a way to get those players in those attacking positions, having Ahmad there makes it all seem a lot more logical.
Yeah.
And, like I say, it wasn't an amazing game from him, but he was facilitated a lot around him as well. Linked up well with Mbermo.
Yeah, and probably when you've got three defenders, especially at home against a side perhaps like Sunderland, you don't need to play five defenders.
No.
Ahmad is not a defender. He's an attacking player generally. And we did play a fullback on the other side, but you certainly don't need five players who aren't good at going forward.
No.
The main strength is defence.
I think this version of the Amorim system, which isn't a finished version of it, like the sort of a later stage version of it, is more simple, I think, where you have your back three and your two in front are basically your defenders. And that's the way that it would work at Lisbon, is one of those would drop in when a fullback went out wide, when a wide centre-back went out wide to close down the ball.
Yeah.
What's been happening at United is the wing-back's been dropping, the centre-backs have all been staying in the middle, and then you've got not defensive midfielders, but two players who are supposed to hold. At that point, you've got 6 or 7 defensive players on the pitch and 3 attackers.
Yeah.
That's so ineffective and such a waste of resources, especially at home against a team like Sunderland. So having a winger in one of those wide midfield positions is a lot closer to what I think Amorim's trying to achieve with this system.
Yeah. It was nice to see Lamens given his debut.
It was, yeah.
Briefly before. We've talked about it every week on here, trying to figure out why he hasn't been playing, and it seemed like it did start to feel like maybe he's just never going to play him.
Yeah.
Maybe he just simply doesn't like him as a player and didn't want him.
Yeah.
But he did. He could well have been waiting for a less challenging game at home, less pressure maybe, but there was certainly pressure on the team going into the game.
Yeah. It was an important game, and he didn't. I think some of the praise for him has been slightly overborne.
Yeah.
I think I'm not accounting amongst that. The Stretford end definitely ironically chanting, "Are you Schmeichel in disguise?" when he caught the ball. I don't think they were actually comparing him to Schmeichel, as they seem to take it as a literal praise of him. He had a very sort of nothing game in that, and that is what you want from your goalkeeper at home against a newly promoted side. You basically, if it wasn't his debut, no one would have anything to say about him. I think he saved the 2 shots that they had and caught some good crosses into the box, relieved a bit of pressure, played some nice long balls. And that was everything that was asked of him. Yeah. It was perfectly accomplished. It was very sort of calm and collected, and should be the norm for a goalkeeping performance going forward.
Yeah, because when there was a period of a few years, sort of 2015 onwards, where David De Gea won Player of the Season every year.
Yes.
He had, I don't know how many years it was that he won it, but even in the seasons where he didn't, he was one of our best players.
Yeah.
And he was called upon so often.
Yes.
And it's not what you want, really. You want your keeper to be reliable, and when needed, pulls saves out the bag, which De Gea did a lot, but you don't want him to be the story too often.
No.
And
it speaks to other issues.
Yeah. And there should be plenty of games for a goalkeeper for a side that gets into Europe, that he should have plenty of completely inconsequential games where you don't even think about him.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if Bayanda has ever had a game where he's not been noticeable.
Yes. Noticeable in his absence, perhaps.
Yeah.
Like, he's often, he didn't play, we don't need to slag him off anymore this week, but it was, and it will take some time to sort of, for us as fans to get used to, if he does stay in the team, the sort of, they had, when Xhaka had a shot from range, not being like, oh, it's probably going to go in, like, or when they got through that one-on-one at the end, thinking, well, please, get something on it. Don't just let it go straight past you, as we've had for basically the last 2 seasons. It will take some time to go back to, oh yeah, keeper's got that, feeling comfortable when they do have chances, because no team completely shuts down the opposition for 90 minutes. The issue we've been having is, even when we were controlled and even when we were playing okay, any decent chance they would score. And that's completely unsustainable. You can't go through a game needing to not concede any chances in order to keep a clean sheet. You have to be able to rely on them a little bit.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can get to that level with Lamens. He doesn't need to be the best keeper in the league. He doesn't need to be the best keeper in the world. We're not going to be the best team in the league this season. He needs to be not a net detractor to the side. And I think that's very achievable for him.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't have singled out Bayanda because it's not been him most of the time. The last couple of seasons it's been Anana. And he's been very patchy, and there's been plenty of shots that go at him and you worry that he's not going to keep him out or he's going to palm him out straight to an attacker. Yeah. So we don't want to go too big on Lamens, as you said. Some of his praise is probably slightly overblown because he didn't really do anything. Yeah. But that's nice that he wasn't the story for good or bad. Yeah.
And it does speak to the performance as well, that Sunderland, who have been flying high this season, well above us in the league, weren't able to create really sustained pressure for any period during the match. We've not talked about the second goal, but once they made a change in the first half, they brought on another defender and went sort of mirrored our formation. It did become a lot more even, but even at that point, they didn't create a volume of chances.
Yeah, they didn't pepper the goal.
No. For the second goal,
long throw.
Yeah, not something we've seen deployed from United side for a long time.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a special shout out to our father, who said just before, when Lenny Yoro put the ball out, why has he let that go for a throw? Surely he'd be better off with the ball at his feet there. And I said, well, throw-ins can be dangerous.
Yeah.
And then it was a good throw into the box, sort of failure to clear it maybe from the Sunderland defender. And then good anticipation from Šeško.
Yeah. It's and there's been a real trend in the Premier League, and particularly this season, with long throws. And we've been one of the sort of last teams to go along with that. But it can be very effective, especially on a windy day like Saturday. Yeah. And it was, I think a lot of players would have scored that goal probably. Yeah. But it's nice to see that Šeško was the man in that position. Yeah. Because there were so many times with Højlund leading the line where even if we scored, you would think, why is it that player who's scoring that tap-in and not Højlund?
Yeah. Scott McTominay a lot of the time.
Mainly, yeah. So it's nice. That's who you want in those situations, is your new, very expensive number 9. Yeah. And you have to... All strikers rely on a few of those chances. So it's nice to see us creating some simple chances for our striker. And it wasn't just that goal that he scored. He was very effective in link-up play as well. With a lot of the long kicks from the goalkeeper, he was making the ball stick up there.
Yeah, he needs to stick.
And laying it off to Mbeumo or whoever. So it was good to see from Šeško. And a lot of people seemed really encouraged with his performance, not just United fans.
Yeah, I think one question people had coming in was, he obviously had a great goal catalogue, and the adage is always, can he go from being a scorer of great goals to a great goal scorer? Yeah. And to be a great goal scorer, you have to score those sorts of goals. Yeah. Nobody scores 30 long-range screamers a season. If you want to score a volume of goals, you have to be tapping them in from 4 yards out occasionally. Yeah. And we haven't seen that from a striker. I'm not saying this is that. This is the start of that. And if we can reliably get him into good positions, he seems like he will be reliable at taking them. That's the next big if, is how many of those chances we can create for him. But it's good to see him get one and score at Old Trafford. It's always a great feeling when your new number 9 scores.
Yeah.
Love that. His massive jump celebration. Is always good to see. And his athleticism didn't really feature in that goal particularly.
No.
Couldn't really have featured less, but it's good anticipation, good reading of the ball, and good goal. Good to get a second goal. Because, as they say, well, some people say 2-goal lead is more dangerous.
Yeah. And there were times in the second half, particularly Sunderland did seem to certainly make it a more competitive game than it was.
Yeah.
And we maybe did, I think Amorim said similar things in his press conference. We maybe didn't have that control for the whole game, which is somewhat that there's been an issue for United for a long time, not being able to keep it consistent over 90 minutes. But we didn't make any silly mistakes during that period. We were able to ride it out and keep it simple.
Yeah.
And that's refreshing to see.
It is, yeah. Subs came on, everyone there was no injuries, it was all sort of expected subs. Cunha got half an hour, Dorgu got a run out at left wing back. Changed one of the centre halves again, which some people don't like, but is ultimately, in a game like this, it seems sort of fine. They didn't have a lot of work to do, so it seems sort of arbitrary whether or not you bring one of them off. Some people don't like it, but like I say, they weren't unsettled at any point today, and everyone seemed to get on all right.
Yeah. It seems a bit. Now that's one of those things where Amorim has said he's not planning to change his ways, and he will stick to it. And clearly, swapping out the centre backs is key. So it's something he wants to do. There's no coincidence that he seems to do it every game.
All the time. Yeah.
So, we should expect him to carry on doing that, even when we're seemingly winning comfortably.
Yes. We're not going to talk about the manager's future for too long, because I don't think this really materially changes anything.
No.
I think it was always on thin ice going into the Liverpool game, and a win against Sunderland isn't really going to do much to help that problem. If he gets absolutely battered by Liverpool, then there'll be a lot more people calling for his head. Yeah,
and that will have a much bigger effect on his future than this narrow win against Sunderland. 2-0 win against Sunderland.
We had a comment on one of our videos from a Mike saying...
listener Mike.
Yeah, saying, should we give Amorim a sort of grace period at the start of the season that not many people seem willing to afford him?
Yeah.
Everyone's seeming rolled straight on from last season into this season. And I see the point. I think there is... Some people wanted a fresh start at the start of this season.
Yeah, wipe the slate clean sort of thing.
Yeah, and we have been better this season. I think the results at home have been good. There's been mitigations around all of them, apart from this one until now. And I think a couple of occasions, a couple of happenings have really stuck in people's minds. I think Grimsby especially has turned a lot of people off the idea of Amorim being a successful United manager that may have been there before. But I think there does need to be a bit of consideration of, the problems with the squad last season and the issues going into, sort of not joining mid-season and the Europa League being a much more important thing than the league for a lot of it. So I think that's why you can sort of write off last season. But why do you think people are not so keen to sort of rolling the two into one, do you think?
Yeah, well, it is... To an extent, football fans are very fickle. Yeah. And we're definitely guilty of that ourselves. That when United win, I feel so good about United.
A win solves a lot of problems.
Yeah. And when United win, our players play well. I like the players. And when we win, I like the manager.
Yeah.
And I will always want whoever is the manager to do well. And I want to believe that they will turn it around. And so, I certainly don't want to be harsh on the manager today, because that's what you want. That's what we did what we set out to achieve. And Andy Mitten, the journalist, made a video as well, sort of calling for more patience from United fans and not going back and forth with every game. But the results were so bad last season that being slightly better at the start of the season isn't really enough. And I don't want to be fickle the other way either. And I want to sort of remember that there are reasons that we've criticised the manager.
Yeah.
And there's a lot has gone wrong in that time. But it does seem like the club are being patient with him. And I don't think he would have been sacked if we had lost that game. He would have been under a lot of pressure, but he always is.
Yeah.
I think we might as well, and this always rests on the next result, but we might as well try and be a bit more patient for now, especially if he's going to stay either way.
Yeah. I think he's helped somewhat. Well, it helps and it doesn't. I think it will be and will remain for a little while very achievable for United to get 4th, 5th or 6th. I don't think that there's a good crop, like a top crop of teams that are going to pull away. I think that there's the top 4. I think City, Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool are quite solidly the top 4. But even they're not incredible. None of them are untouchable. And below that, there is every chance that United can be every bit as good as one of them. So I think what is probably helping him is if we get a bit better, then things will look a little rosier. But what's also not helping him is that I think United could easily be the 5th best team in this league with this squad. I think that is achievable. So why aren't we?
Yeah.
Could a managerial change make us look twice as good as we are? And if that was done, then I think this season there is a lot of league points up for grabs, and we could easily finish quite comfortably.
Yeah,
and it's whether or not that change is a risk. And we said, like, you said last week, there's no way we can be worse.
Yeah,
but that there is a way we can worse than today's performance. So if we can get to a level where that performance we saw today is more commonplace, then there's a bit more reason to keep him.
Yeah, if we sort of keep ticking along and only winning just enough games for the manager to keep his job, then there will come a point where you think we're still not that far off with a new manager.
Yeah.
If we could then put a run of wins together, we'd be up there.
Yeah.
But we really need to build some wins together. The fact is the very bare minimum is winning 2 games in a row, and I'm not going to say I expect us to do that with our next game, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But that has to be the aim, because once you've got 2 wins in a row, you can go for 3 and 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
But that he has to get that off his back.
That bloke can book his appointment at Arthur's. Get his hair done.
That has to be the aim, and we'll try and be patient with the manager. But while that is still hanging over his head of not winning 2 league games in a row, there will always be serious questions asked, because that's not acceptable at Manchester United.
I think I said on Saturday he's got onto the bottom rung of a ladder at the bottom of a very deep pit, and the only way for him to keep his job is if he keeps climbing up, and he has to. If we go from that was a good win at Sunderland to then a dreadful performance at Anfield, and then a decent win somewhere else, and then another loss, putting that consistency together has to be the priority. And it's not unachievable. We've seen Crystal Palace go 19 games unbeaten. There are ways of playing in this league that are proving very effective at the moment, and it's not like the league is that incredible that we've got a competitive squad. We need a competitive team with the right motivation can put a run together, and we need to see something resembling that. Yeah,
because just this season we've gone to Brentford needing just to win, and then we would have 2 games in a row. We've played Fulham and Burnley next to each other, and you look at that and think, well, surely we'll be able to get 2 wins in a row there. And there's been plenty of opportunities last season as well. We've just not taken them, and that's got to be the starting point.
Yeah,
and until he gets to that, it's hard to really believe in the manager. But I do want to, and there is a point to be made that going one way with every win and the other way with every loss is not helpful. No. Perhaps. I wanted to talk about the sort of back and forth between Amorim where Amorim said that he was worried about the media attention and punditry getting in the players' heads when everyone's questioning the system all the time, and he's worried about the players taking that to heart, and that makes them question the system. Because Gary Neville said something along the lines of, if you're worried about what pundits say, you shouldn't be playing for Manchester United.
Right, yeah.
I don't really know where I stand on it. It's when you're not winning games, the players are the system and the players and everything's going to be questioned, because this don't want to sound like that video that we quote all the time. It's Manchester United.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a lot of pressure, and the players shouldn't obviously listen. They should, if they're playing for Man United, they shouldn't be worried about what pundits say. They should have the mentality to block that out and focus on their own game. But also the manager seems to be getting to him a bit.
Yeah. I think, I don't believe the manager that that's an issue.
Yeah.
I think it's a sort of, like, Mourinho used to have a sort of siege mentality tactic when he would say, you all think we're rubbish and we know we're good, and sort of pit the team against the world.
Yeah.
And maybe Amorim's trying something like this. I can't believe that they're training and Amorim's giving them instructions and they're thinking, Wayne Rooney thinks this isn't the right way to play, so maybe he knows, I think obviously football, United scrutiny is everywhere, and the punditry will always talk about United. There's always media about United, and players do need to deal with that. I don't think there's any, certainly not starters in the United squad at the moment, who I look at and I think they are weak mentally. I think the squad has fragility in it, and that's a squad that's not won a major trophy in 12 in a long time. So that there's an inherent fragility to that. But I don't see them as the sort of the sort to focus too heavily on that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And also, the manager's job is to sort of insulate the squad in a way and give them confidence and motivate them. And so you can say the pundits say the system's not working, but I say the issue is the pundits criticising the players and them losing belief. Both of those are the manager's job. It's the manager's job to instill that belief in the players and to coach them in such a way that they can say, well, we know it's working, we believe in it. And if they don't believe in it, you can't really blame a pundit for that. It's the manager's job to get them to believe in it.
Yeah.
They might not believe in it because they've won 8 league games in a year. That might not be helping.
Yeah, I do see something in the sort of argument that United pundits are all very negative about the club and it doesn't foster a healthy environment. But I don't think criticising Amorim's system or questioning whether this is working is a particularly example of that.
No.
I think that's been the case for years, whether United have been quite good at times during that time, but it still seems like pundits are desperate to slag us off.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of valid criticism of Amorim's tactics, and we're usually quite supportive of United. We're not slagging us off all the time.
Yeah.
And we've questioned the system a lot. So
yeah, I think during the Ollie era, there was definitely a case of sort of entitlement, maybe, that United were doing things but not doing them in the right way. I think there's that famous Karl Anka tweet about the sort of the defend at one end, attack at the other, and then something happens in the middle. And it was quite a sort of arrogant thing about how United might be all right, but they are not all right in the right way. And I think there was definitely a punditry around that wasn't helpful, and at that period a bit more of a United bias, because they're so anti-United bias. I mean, Roy Keane isn't a United fan. That's fair enough. He seems to enjoy. He always gets asked about United, and he has no real loyalty there because of how he left the club, I think, and things like that. Gary Neville is a United fan, but he's so keen to be not be seen as biased that he seems to dislike United more than most people.
Yeah,
and they're
probably the main two. They're the loudest voices when it comes to United punditry.
And I think a bit more positivity from them in that era could have maybe bled through to the squad. What I think is happening now is not that. And I think we've seen such a degradation of standards from United in terms of, if you look at the results that were getting managers sacked that haven't got Amorim sacked, and whether or not you say, you weather the storm because you're laying foundations to build something, which I think was perhaps the belief for times last season and is less the belief now. I don't think that the punditry is the issue. I think it is a long way down on the list of issues.
Problems to solve before that. Mason Mount said after the game that the players were 100% behind the manager.
Yeah.
To which then Amorim, in his classic brutally honest fashion, said, well, they can say that. But he essentially said they might say that, but games like Grimsby shown that maybe they're not always behind the manager. And I suppose he's got a point there, but he would not. And I'm not sure I would want to say that in response to a player saying who's behind me. Wouldn't say, well, are you sure about that? Because sometimes you play rubbish.
Yeah, I don't know maybe if that's talking about them playing rubbish at Grimsby, or if they perhaps came off that thinking we are being set up to fail in a way.
Yeah.
I don't think they necessarily are being set up to fail, or that they are being set. Well, certainly that the way they're set up should matter in a game against Grimsby. But there is a bit of commentary online that for a long time the manager hasn't been the limiting factor at United, and the squad building has been the limiting factor. And whether or not the squad building level has gone up or the managerial level has gone down, I think it's probably a little bit of one and quite a lot of the other.
Yeah.
The manager seems to be the limiting factor with this squad, and I could see why, especially after a game like Grimsby, he might get the vibe that the players are thinking we could be all right without this bloke.
Yeah.
But we are currently not all right.
Yeah. Given that we said we're not going to talk about that
it's quite
too much, we have gone on a little bit there.
Should we have a look at the rest of the league?
Yeah, we'll go around the grounds.
Yes.
As we're now officially calling it.
Yeah, I haven't got a jingle for it yet.
Okay.
I'll leave it with
we
me.
can make one up on this, but
let's not do that.
Bit of improv.
Yeah.
Off the cuff.
Liverpool lost again?
They did. It's quite the turnaround from them. But I suppose it makes sense given that they won their first 5 games without looking particularly convincing in any of them. They had bits of luck. They stayed in games, late winners. And now their luck has seemingly run out. They haven't started playing well.
No.
And so those games are going to go the other way sometimes.
You can't win them forever. Yeah.
It's just slightly odd that they won them all and then lost them all.
And they won a large amount by late winners, and now they've lost certainly the 2 in the league by late winners.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a tough swing that they've suffered. But like you say, it was sort of a 15-point start built on sand and has collapsed slightly.
Yeah, and because they lost in the Champions League as well to Galatasaray.
Yeah.
It's strange really with them. I'm sure their fans were saying, obviously it's great that we've won these games, but we need to be careful because it's not all rosy.
Yeah.
And you could easily look at it from a points perspective and say, well, this is great, but it's more, this is great for now, but at some point we'll have to start playing well.
Yeah.
And they weren't as bad as they perhaps were against Chelsea, but I thought Chelsea looked really good.
Yes.
And they'd probably deserved that win.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, I think there's probably a little bit of, not bias, but a loyalty to Salah that is meaning that they're sort of glossing over the fact that Salah has not played well this season.
Yeah.
He's got the same dribbles completed rate as De Ligt, which is 0.1 dribbles per game.
Right. So is that one dribble?
De Ligt's got a 50% success rate, so I presume that is 2 dribbles and he completed 1 of them.
Right.
Maybe he completed 2 out of 4, but Salah has completed an average of 0.1 per game, which is very, very poor.
Yeah, and not like him.
Yeah, they perhaps need to take him out, and I don't think he's the sort of player to kick up a fuss about that. I think he would recognise that he's not played well and that there are other options. But we talked about their summer, and we didn't really see it as a gamble at the time, but we saw it as a good sort of evolution of the squad.
Yeah.
But there's inherently a risk in selling. Darwin Núñez less so because he was so hit and miss, but selling a player like Luis Diaz, who is a functional Premier League forward, who has a few seasons under his belt and has shown that he can reliably play to a good level, to perhaps sort of trade that in for a chance at, going up a level. And I'm sure their signings will bed in and they will be fine. But they've not got that option that they had in Wirtz. I think Wirtz is not. He's a good player, and I think he will be a good player for Liverpool. But there's a little bit of a hangover, I think, from his signing that he needs to kick on a little bit and show why they spent all that money on him.
Yeah. The sort of question with them, I suppose, with the window, because it was a really impressive window on the surface, signing so many big players. But I suppose the question was, is it too much?
Yes. Yeah.
Is this going to work? Is it going to actually have a positive effect on the team? Because, it's sort of criticism of Real Madrid in the noughties with all the Galacticos that aren't the team. There's just a lot of big money signings, but they're not necessarily going to gel. And to sign 2 strikers, essentially, both for a lot of money, a lot of people did sort of question that. And they had a really settled team last season, or quite settled midfield and forward line, and that's not the case this season.
Yes. They have got issues in defence. I think the fullback signings haven't gelled yet.
Yeah.
There's a reason that Conor Bradley and Andy Robertson are playing as many minutes as they are, because they've signed these 2 big money fullbacks that aren't putting a marker down and saying that, they aren't elevating themselves by their performance. And I think we're not going to say that they are a dreadful side, but they haven't,
especially not with us.
Not with us going. Yeah, game. We can. We'll talk about them in that lens slightly later on. But they have got worse. I don't think many Liverpool fans would disagree with that.
No,
they won 5 from 5, and that sort of allowed them to say. I spoke about last week about United. If we can put some wins together, we can get better in the background, even if we scrape some wins.
Yeah.
And I think the Liverpool fans were able to sort of justify that was what was happening, was we will get more fluid and gel more, and it's great that we're winning in the meantime. And that's sort of caught up with them a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Any other matches you caught your eye?
Arsenal got another routine win and they're now top of the league.
Yes.
So maybe my shout at the start of the season is not looking as bad. A lot of people after this weekend are going more towards Arsenal and maybe City with the title. Gyökeres didn't score again. No. I've also seen people saying they're thinking Sesko is better than Gyökeres now. So
we'll take that. Yeah,
happy with that.
I think it was a very standard win for Arsenal, and the sort of game that they need to, if you're going to win the league, you need to sort of get through without much consequence.
Yeah, and similar to ours, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's the kind of game you should be winning with relative ease.
Yes.
Palace's unbeaten run came to an end.
What a shame. But, not under sort of, they very easily could have not. It was a deflected goal where the defender cleared it straight into Jack Grealish's leg and it went in. It was unlucky that it came to an end. But by that sense, it was probably a little lucky that it had gone as long as it had. Yeah,
and I think they were sort of lagging towards the end of that game. And I think the longer it went on, Everton were always going to be the more likely team to take the winner. And with the fact that they were playing away in Poland on a Thursday, and most of the players aren't used to playing in Europe, so
yes.
It was always going to come to an end, but fair play to them.
I know, what an achievement.
I don't know when the last time we went 19 games unbeaten was.
Adrian van der Sar was probably in goal.
Yeah.
It's not something that teams do that regularly.
No.
So, very, and certainly not a team that isn't tipped by many to win the title. It's that's half a season and not quite in all competitions, but that's a good long run and fair play to them. I'd like to see. That's the sort of thing we're talking about United, where
just
building sort of consistency. We're not expecting to go 19 games unbeaten, but we'd like to go 3.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Another good result for United women on Friday night.
Yeah.
Tough game away at Chelsea. The sort of game that we've been outclassed in a couple of times in the last couple of seasons. And even when you're on a good run, you go turn up at Chelsea and you think, well, actually, we're not quite at the level here.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case. It was a really solid performance. Could have unlucky not to win, really. I think in a lot of ways. A stat I saw about Chelsea's manager. Chelsea's manager managed her 100th professional game as a coach. She's lost 8 of them.
Wow, that's not
no. Sorry, no. She's lost 2 of them and drawn 8 of them and won 90 of them.
Yeah,
that may have something to do with managing Lyon and then Chelsea.
Yeah,
there's
a reason they hire.
Yeah, that is a very, very good record.
Yeah. United's women's team have their first Champions League group game
proper,
against Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, it's a good sign to see. A shame the men's team can't replicate it, but they have progressed sort of in fits and starts. The women's team from only being founded
10 years ago,
something like that, and getting promoted, and then
maybe not even 10 years ago.
No, I don't think so. Not quite. Getting promoted and then sort of stuttering through the Premier League because there's such a big gap. The Super League, sorry. There's such a big gap between the bottom and the top of the Super League in terms of funding, in terms of crowd sizes. Arsenal get sort of 20,000 quite regularly, and some teams in the WSL get less than 5, including United Women's quite often. So it's a big gap to make up, and for the last couple of seasons, they've been looking okay and being quite ambitious in the market. And it's good to see that, this season they've started in the league really well. They are not, I'm not going to say they're challenging Chelsea for the title yet, because there's a long way to go. Chelsea and Arsenal are very good teams, and United haven't really earned the right to be in that conversation yet. But, they can very easily get there if they keep putting performances in like they done Friday.
Yeah. And it's impressive, really, given they've not always, I think it's an understatement to say they've not always been the priority by the powers that be.
Yeah.
But it was farcical that United didn't have a women's team for so long.
And
just like with the men's team, there's no reason why Manchester United shouldn't be competing for the league.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Good to see.
And
on the up.
Hopefully, I mean, not that it shouldn't work this way, but a big turnout at Old Trafford could be seen as, this is the club is very often viewed by the management as a revenue first sort of vehicle, and they've been looking for ways to increase revenue, and having a good competitive women's team who can regularly, get a good crowd into Old Trafford.
Yeah, and again,
that's all revenue they're not getting at the moment. They're playing in Lee, they're getting very low numbers. If they can get
presumably we have to pay to rent the stadium.
Yeah. So I presume they make up profit on the tickets, but a percentage of that is going to the company that holds it. So I'd like to think that they can show that they can add value to the club as well.
Yeah.
Not that should be needed in order. It's obviously an inherently good thing to do, and
if you have to take a loss on the women's team and subsidise that with the men's team, that's perfectly fine. This still doesn't mean.
But if we can get sort of 10 games a season in Old Trafford with a good crowd, that could really make a big difference.
Yeah, I'm going to see the women play against PSG at Old Trafford
in
a couple of weeks. So
free work?
No.
Oh, right.
There's a pun.
I was going to suggest something like that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm sure there's free tickets.
Oh, I'd buy one, yeah.
Yeah. Before we talk about the Liverpool game, I've seen this quote on Twitter a few times today.
Yeah.
From Gary Neville. There's never a source attached to it.
Okay.
Where he says, you always used to get loads of stick, 90 minutes of stick from the Liverpool fans, mainly about my appearance, from blokes who look like extras from Planet of the Apes.
Right.
And I remember one year I turned around and said, I've got 8 Premier League medals. What have you got other than diabetes?
Right.
And that was what it was all about, good-natured ribbing. And I'm just like, this cannot be genuine.
It cannot be true.
I'm sure it's by that guy who used to do fake football quotes on Twitter, and somehow it's stood the test of time, and it's been passed around. Enough people fell for it at the time that people are still sharing it now. There was a Paul Scholes one where he said, everyone knows United are the biggest club in Manchester. The second biggest is the Hacienda, and that's been shut for 30 years.
Maybe he said that.
I don't think he did.
He's not the wittiest of blokes, as Paul Scholes. Yeah, I don't think that's true from Gary Neville. If he said that, what certainly isn't true is that he did say it.
Yeah,
no one's that witty in the moment. That's very much one of those come up with it after sort of things.
Yeah, no, and there was a game where he celebrated a lot in the face of Liverpool fans when we scored a late winner, but he's clearly not coming up with cutting remarks. He's just screaming.
No. There's always, I do enjoy that on Twitter, the sort of the things that people will buy that people actually said. There's always the thing, they like the number of, when people talk about Scholes, there'll be quotes from basically everybody who's ever played football saying,
Scholes of Manchester, the greatest player I ever faced.
And it's like, these can't all be true. There's people, and we've seen, Corel Prince is doing good work at the moment to sort of debunk some of those from source. But people will just make something up, and if not enough people shut it down immediately, you can very easily enter. The best example has to be when the guy made up the list of facts about Lincoln Red Imps before Celtic played them in the Champions League.
Guy. He was the average home attendance of 12. They can't use the pitch on Tuesdays because of the metal detecting club. And and it got shared on Sky Sports, even though it was a fake Sky Sports graphic. Surely they know they didn't make it, but apparently not.
Phenomenal work.
Yeah,
and I mean, Lincoln Red Imps, not the biggest of teams. You don't need to go out of your way to make them even more Tim Pot.
Yeah. We should talk about the Liverpool game, I suppose.
Do we think anyone will? Do you think anyone will be pulling out that line to
I
celebrate
think
a late winner?
There will be some good-natured ribbing from the Liverpool fans, I'm sure. Yeah. There's now 20 all on league first division titles, which is not fun.
No, not
but fun. Then Liverpool fans last season, and I don't mind these guys, the Red Men TV. I think they're better than a lot of fan channels. For Scousers,
better than that
they're all
bald
right.
bloke. I can't remember his name.
Yes, the Irish fella, Anfield agenda, and for Liverpool fans, I think they're quite reasonable.
Yeah.
But they had T-shirts printed that were a mock-up of the Back to the Future logo, but instead of Back to the Future, it said back on our effing perch.
Okay.
But would it not be better to wait until you've got 21? Because currently you're sharing the purge. You're back on the purge, but United are still on the purge.
Yeah,
You've not knocked us off the purge. You've just got up there with us.
And it's getting mighty cramped on this purge.
And I'm sure on current standings, they will get there.
Yeah, I would have waited. But, they will... They've always claimed, even when they had slightly fewer league titles, they will claim they had more major trophies than United.
Yeah.
I think there's... different historians count different things and have us both in the low 50s, I think.
The main sticking point is whether you include the Community Shield, I think.
Yeah.
But now Liverpool are ahead, whether you include that or not.
Yeah. And certainly leagues plus Champions Leagues plus FA Cups, Liverpool are ahead.
Well, they've got 3 more European Cups and we've got a couple more FA Cups.
I think so.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know about if you factor in League Cups.
Yeah. It's close.
It is close.
There are, each team can claim different victories.
Yeah, and they come in cycles. Obviously, one team will go quite far ahead, and then the other team will catch up. We were far behind when Fergie took over.
Yeah.
And then it helped that Liverpool didn't win the league for 20 years while we won 10 leagues or something.
Yeah. We shall see just how big the gap is on current form next week.
Yeah. I think the main thing, obviously, I hate playing Liverpool away.
Yep.
We've not won there in 9 years. Before last season, we hadn't scored there for 8 years. So it's never a fun place to go. There was obviously, we lost there 7-0 2 years ago, or 3 years ago.
Ten Hag's first season, so 3 seasons.
We need to be competitive in the game.
Yeah.
The way we played last season, we played really well. That was it's not saying much, but that was our best performance at Anfield for a
long time,
while. Yeah. And we went to the Etihad 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we were not competitive. City didn't have to be very good to beat us handsomely. So that's the main thing that I'm looking for. And maybe that's small time to say we just need to be in the game, because that's what Forest Green fans would be hoping for if they went to Anfield.
Yeah,
that they can stay in the game, keep it tight, and not get embarrassed.
Yeah, I think it's acknowledgement of this current United side that I think there is basically any scoreline from. I don't think we'll ship 7, but probably any scoreline from 5-0 to them to 2-0 to us is possible.
Yeah.
There is so many different versions of United. Liverpool have been fairly consistent this season in being almost good enough to win every single game.
Yeah.
And, United...
capable of losing, but good enough to win.
And so it depends which United shows up. Like you say, the United performance at Anfield last season was admirable. It was perfectly serviceable.
Yeah, and we came very close to winning the game.
Yeah, if we can come away in 2 weeks' time thinking of the disappointment of not winning, then I think most United fans would take that.
Yeah.
However, I'd probably play this clip back for myself in the immediate aftermath if we have the disappointment of not winning, because I'm always like, oh, it's worse that we've got so close and then not won, because we desperately need to win at Anfield again before too long.
If we'd have won?
If Maguire had scored that late winner at Anfield, but Xerxes was offside, so it wouldn't have counted, and we don't need to check the footage.
No.
We can just know in our minds that Xerxes would have been called offside, so it's better that he missed.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been more painful, but
yeah, I'm hoping that Amorim doesn't revert to type and play 2 wing backs and Bruno and Casemiro in midfield, because there's a huge body of evidence that if we play 5 defenders and those 2 in midfield, that there's just no progression up the pitch. It just doesn't happen. I'm hoping he doesn't drop Yoro, because that's another source of progression. It needs to be, at the very least, it needs to be Dorgu and Dalot. That's the least attacking set of fullbacks we can have. If it's Mazraoui and Dalot, we've got no chance. Yeah. Because we just can't get up the pitch.
Yeah.
You can progress the ball. Can't progress the ball through the middle. It doesn't happen because our number 10s are so pulled up to the front line and there isn't a sort of person in the hole. So you have to progress the ball either long or down the sides. And if you've got fullbacks there, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, and if we play like that, Liverpool will get chances, and they've got good enough players that they will score some of them. So we have to mitigate that.
I'm really hopeful that this isn't a game for Salah to play his way into form by having 4 chances and then scoring them. Or Verts,
kickstart his season.
Yes, it would be insufferable. Hopefully, if we can even limit them slightly to, get through some of the game. Although, a late winner is just as galling. I just hate playing Liverpool. If we never played Liverpool again, I would be
happy.
Yeah, I just hate it. And, we've seen what can happen when the wheels come off.
Yeah, and we've not seen what can happen when it all goes right for so long.
Yes, yeah.
It's hard to remember. I was too young to remember John O'Shea's last-minute winner at Anfield.
Yeah, you remember just about Rooney's. Was it Rooney's? Under Van Gaal? I
do remember Rooney's. Yeah, that was a good goal, that.
Was that under Van Gaal?
It was Van Gaal's second season. 1-0. That was last time we won there. Rooney scored a volley.
Yeah.
And we didn't play particularly well in that game, but it wasn't a great time for Liverpool, and we got the win. Van Gaal, of all his faults, he knew how to beat Liverpool.
He did.
And the season before that, we played really well at Anfield, and Mata scored 2. And Gerrard got sent off after 30 seconds.
I mean, you couldn't write it, could you, as a United fan? If you gave a United fan a typewriter and said, script Steven Gerrard's last appearance against Manchester United, they would say, well, he starts on the bench.
Funny.
Yeah, that's funny. He comes on when we're 2-0 up or when we're winning the game and adjusts his armband and he gets given the captaincy.
Yeah.
And comes on. Big crunching tackle, Anfield goes wild.
Yeah.
Big crunching tackle, Gerrard gets sent off 30 seconds later. And then we win the game.
Yeah, with an overhead kick.
You couldn't write it.
No.
So maybe hopefully we can hark back to those halcyon days of Louis van Gaal and get a decent result.
Yeah.
And look, not to be too sort of, we are very light and shade on this manager, but a win at Anfield and you start looking up the table again because there's nobody, we're in 10th in the league now, I think, but it's so early in the season that a couple of results can really make a big difference.
Yeah.
And while this is why people say it's too early to look at the table, but it's definitely too early to look at the table when you're in the bottom half. When you're in the top half, you can really start to,
to delude yourself.
Yeah. So it would be. I'm not going to say it would be a miracle because,
that's probably too far.
Anything can happen. It would be a very, very good day.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I've done this. I've allowed myself to drink out thinking about us winning there, and then we're not going to win there.
No, I expect we will lose, but There's every chance.
Yeah, the wins are better when you expect it to lose.
Yeah, I'm less confident than I was going to the City game, and we saw how that went.
Yeah,
so
that's because we've had the City game. There's a big part of that. That's already happened. Yeah, we'll see.
And then, well, it's a little break now because it's the international break. We've not decided what we're doing for the international break.
Do you mean for,
as in for this?
Yeah, well, last time I was on holiday, so we had to restructure. We could have a little, I don't know, bonus episode to talk about other things.
Maybe
United.
Yeah, we could do that. We can bit of history.
Yeah,
maybe look back at some not some vintage. Oh, we've already looked back at some vintage games at Anfield.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll have a think.
Regroup.
Put our heads together.
Yeah. Any plans for the international break? You're going to watch England play two European nations?
Yeah. No, I'm not. Probably.
I don't think there's any United players in the squad. Rashford's in there, but
no current United players in the senior squad. No, I'm not going to watch them.
No,
I don't like them unless Maguire and Rashford have gone.
And Shaw.
Yeah. Luke Shaw's, but his England days aren't behind him. His England days are never that far away because England just don't produce left backs.
Yeah, and Liverpool's injured, so that helps him.
But he hasn't got in the squad this time. Maybe he'll get in the squad next time. I don't really consider him. He's not a favourite United player anymore. Those days have gone.
Yeah, and I would say it's not really worth Thomas Tuchel's while to put a player like Luke Shaw in there. But he keeps picking Jordan Henderson. So
Jordan Henderson had a good game against United.
Yeah, Luke Shaw has good games sometimes, but he's not the future of England, is he?
No. Yeah, these sort of friendlies, you take Nico O'Reilly.
Yeah. Well, I don't really care about England until the World Cup comes along. Sorry if that makes me a plastic England fan, but I am not a very big England fan. I support them in the World Cup, and I mainly care about United.
Yes.
And
I don't know. You were putting those flags up the other day. You're big England. I thought you were a big England fan. Oh, right. Okay.
That's a joke. But yeah, I remember when England lost under Southgate in a friendly or a Nations League game or something, and people were up in arms on Twitter. I was just like, I care far too much about United to care anything like this much about England.
I think I care probably at this point of an England cycle. I think I care more about like United's under 21s getting a good result than England. As long as England get to the World Cup, I could not care less how they play.
Yeah, and they will. So.
Yeah, they will. They're not already qualified. They might already be qualified.
They might be.
They haven't lost a home qualifier in about 15 years.
Yeah. Since probably Steve McLaren days.
Yeah. Right. Are we? Any other business? Anything you want?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, fair enough. What are you having for tea?
Chili garlic noodles.
Oh, nice.
Quick one. Just waz it up in the pan.
Yeah, fair enough.
A lot of chili in there. A bit of garlic.
Some noodles.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not just them. There's a bit dry.
When's your cookery show coming out?
That's once this podcast goes down a storm.
Nice.
We'll have red curry reaction.
Oh, I love it. Thai red curry.
Or chili con carne reaction.
Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad. Right. We'll leave you on that. Well, there's not another one.
There must be.
Red Army coronation chicken.
We'll work on it.
All right. Yeah. The Maillard reaction. That's a cooking thing, isn't it?
Maillard reaction.
Yeah, we'll brainstorm.
Skin goes brown.
It is, yeah.
Right. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
We'll let you know about the cooking show.
Yes.
As Adam said at the start of the episode, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, leave a rating, tell your friends, tell your enemies, and we will see you out there.